Three, two, one. Hey, it's Wild Josh from Geek-Cetera, and I'm joined today by Ezra, Chase, and Kyle. And we recently did a video on and discussed different properties who had comics for them done by Marvel, and if they were added to the MCU, what impact they might have. And in this video, we're going to discuss a movie proposal for one of them. Now, let's get geeky. So we're going to kick it right over to Kyle. Kyle, this was your movie proposal. So you're pitching to the Marvel execs in charge of the MCU. Let's hear it.
All right. Well, I'm a little intimidated, so don't mind me if I
Picture us all
really
naked.
fail it. I'm really glad that the first word after I say that is soft,
Well,
because the
I'm
premise
just gonna
is
warn
that
you,
it's going to
Kyle.
be what's
I'm gonna
that?
warn you. We've watched a lot of pitch meetings. So if you don't have super easy, barely inconvenience, tight, I forget what all of his other tropes are because I haven't watched them in a long time. But
Oh, really?
yeah, oh really? Yeah. So I'm expecting some of those tropes in your pitch meeting here.
Fair enough. All right. So the premise of this is that it would be a soft reboot or sequel for the Transformers franchise, based off the Bumblebee soft reboot slash sequel that they did for the Transformers franchise, which was actually pretty good. And for those of you that don't remember, in our last video, I kind of teased this already, or from my perspective, it was like 15 minutes ago. So the prologue for this movie would be Bumblebee. He still lands on Earth and he loses a fight in his memory and he shuts down. But he and the Decepticon he faced, and if you remember, killed, um, they're both found by S.H.I.E.L.D. after well, that one is dead, and then Bumblebee shuts down, whatever. So Nick Fury believes them, at least at first, to be weapons and not living creatures because, I don't know, just because memory movie magic, suspension of disbelief. You take it and run with it. But he leverages the technology much like he did with the Chitauri.
The Chitauri.
Chitauri, yep, words are hard. Chitauri technology. So he leverages that to make weapons. And continues through the years. So again, this is the prologue. We cut to current date, and they found quite a few. So in the beginning of the movie, we find that not only did he leverage the technology, but he also leveraged the robots themselves and turned them into the why can't I think of the word? I had it earlier. Helicarrier. Now, so we have Transformer helicarriers that that just don't have their mind. They're completely controlled by S.H.I.E.L.D. But anyways, the World Security Council at this point and the U.S. government, they've worked out a deal with Hammertech to continue to reverse engineer this technology. And sometime after, Bumblebee's his signal, as you remember, his signal was discovered in the Bumblebee movie. It still happens here, but this time it's discovered by Optimus Prime on Cybertron. Optimus, at that point, he's going to contact Captain Marvel, and we discover that she turned the tide in the war for Cybertron and brought peace to the Autobots and Decepticons, and now they're the Dotobots. We can work on the name later, but she brought Cybertron to peace. So Captain Marvel, she goes to Earth and she investigates, and she finds Bumblebee has died. He's actually like one of the turrets on the helicarrier now. It's very sad. It's like the only yellow turret on the helicarrier too. It's kind of weird. But she also finds evidence that S.H.I.E.L.D. discovered the bots were a sentient species, but then they continued to experiment on the bots and then leverage the technologies for Earth's defense. So the deal to Hammertech, we find out, was plausible deniability for S.H.I.E.L.D. and the World Security Council, and for Hammertech's experiments, just covering up the fact that they killed Bumblebee and a handful of other bots that they discovered over the years. So she brings this information back to Optimus Prime and agrees to join them in attempting to bring Earth, maybe just Shield, to galactic justice. Because I mean, who are we kidding? If Shield isn't really telling the whole story to the government, um, are they telling the Earth population in general? Like, I don't think Carol or the Autobots would really want to bring destruction to Earth, but they definitely would want to bring Shield to justice. So at this point, it's where it gets a little sketchy in my mind, and I would need funding and a think tank from you guys to be able to figure out whether or not Earth's mightiest heroes would join the battle. But I'm thinking they would not, and I'm thinking Captain Marvel and the other, I'm going to call them Super Friends because that's what they call them on DC. They could more or less just allow things to happen, and the war could then be between Shield and the machines. So saving a lot of money, not having all the big names, and most of the named Avengers suit up, and then we wouldn't really have to worry about who's on the side. How do we get everything equal and even? It's just Shield versus the Autobots, and it would be really funny, I think, if during the war one of the things Shield tries was a Power Rangers esque mech robot team to counter the Transformers and super easy,
Ultron.
barely an inconvenience for the Autobots to stop it.
There you
It
go.
would just the bots would just immediately fail because Shield can't do anything right in this movie. But Power Rangers was another formerly licensed yet short-term comic for Marvel, so that would be a great tie-in. And I'm just thinking the movie then could end with Shield or Earth rightly on their own with no super help, pretty much losing on just every front, like really paying for their sins. Realizing they've been acting like a third world planet who benefit from having super powered beings just come from that planet, they need to step up their interstellar relations. So they give up those who committed war crimes to be brought to justice on Cybertron and begin drafting an interstellar relations agreement, or IRA.
So you're.
So
Oh, go ahead.
So
sorry,
the villains are Shield in this.
the villains are Shield and not
They
Hydra
spent
as
a lot of
Shield.
money
How?
Shield,
to make Shield the good guys.
right.
Well, except for
Yeah, so
in Captain America.
So that's
Well, I
I'll
mean,
just
that was
tie,
I
I'll
mean,
tie that up
that
with
was
with a couple more things. So I'm just about how everything would fit together. So the movie could develop the relationship between Fury and Captain Marvel. They're friends now; they're at odds. Fury's story arc could either go redemptive, or he could have some sort of sacrificial death, or it could be something that forces Fury into retirement. And so this kind of addresses your question, Josh. So it would introduce either a new leader of Shield or put Shield really in the background going forward in the MCU, so we can focus on the celestial stuff and getting into space and away from Earth, which I think is really what the MCU wants to do anyway. And then lastly, it could develop Skrull storylines. It would introduce maybe Super Skrull uniting the Skrulls against Earth for their relations towards aliens. And it could also roll back the really, really, really super dumb thing in Spider-Man where Fury was revealed as being, I forget the Skrull's name, but like Skrulls were stepping in for Fury.
Oh.
I thought that was dumb. We could just erase that where the Skrulls are like, no, let's kill the Earthlings. They're tiny and puny and pink.
I feel like
So that's
that's
all I got.
definitely the way you want to go into a pitch meeting is like, oh, your ideas are crap and we should fix them.
Yeah.
Oh,
isn't
really?
that basically how
Get
J.J.
out.
Abrams went into episodes 9 pitch meeting though?
Probably.
Like episode 8 was hot trash. We need to stop that.
Ooh, Ryan Johnson movies are tight.
Yeah, but see, that wasn't just like a controversial decision.
Hey.
That was like they knew that was
Yeah.
garbage.
But so
Knives
that was
Out
the
was
thing I was thinking about. It's
fantastic.
like, so at any point is Fury the good guy, or is he the one who kind of says? Because like, how do you want to pitch him up against Captain Marvel? Is it like she starts off on their side and the Autobots come and are like, "Hey, what the heck, Shield?" And then
Oh.
she kind of finds out what they were doing and is like, "That's uncool," and switches sides, or
I don't know if she's switching sides so much as policing, because Fury has, I mean, we've seen in the past where he's not morally ambiguous, right? But he walks a line he puts Earth first. And we've
Mhm.
seen that. He's had kind of the same argument with Captain America as we saw in Winter Soldier. So it's not too much of a stretch to believe that Fury puts Earth first and just kind of either allows these things happen or is the one signing the declaration to turn Bumblebee into a turret. But I think Fury's a bad guy in this one.
So this was kind of like, this is my concern. As you were reading it, I was like, who really is the bad guy here? Because, well,
Fury, kind of.
Sure.
for one, because like Fury isn't usually a bad guy. So like, is our audience gonna get confused because we're painting Fury to be a bad guy all of a sudden? Like, I don't know.
I think
The
the
other
people who, go ahead. Sorry.
no, it's all right. Go ahead.
I said the people like if you've watched the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. TV show or even just the movies that Nick Fury appears in, he always, like Kyle said, has that kind of ambiguity where he is doing not what is right, but what is going to protect Earth, kind of ignoring the costs. Like that's why he kept a lot of his projects hidden, and so I think people kind of realize at this point that Fury isn't always on the light side of the shield. Sometimes he's on the dark side of Shield, and so I think they've already set up enough where you could kind of turn Fury into never really being the bad guy, but doing a bad thing for the quote unquote right reasons. So I don't think you ever see Fury as the bad guy in this movie per se, but Shield more in general as the what you're doing is wrong, despite whatever reasons you're doing it for.
So I think we should go back into the role play, right? Kyle just pitched us his idea, and now us three execs are thinking about it. And I would say the concept's very creative, but get out of my office.
Yeah, we'll have our people call your people. We'd really love to work with you, but
Yeah. Wait, the concept's really creative. Security.
So I want to know, Kyle, what's your theoretical budget for this?
Oh man, gosh, I don't.
Because
How much did Michael Scott need to make Threat Level Midnight?
about $12.
I would say $13.
I was gonna say, what's the national deficit? That's about where we'll need to be.
And are you bringing Michael Bay back since it's a
Oh, that's true.
Good
a
question.
Transformers movie, or are you bringing in the Whedon brothers because it's a Marvel movie?
The Whedon brothers.
Yeah.
The Russo brothers.
No.
Is there more than one Whedon? I thought that's just Joss Whedon.
Pretty sure there was two. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I meant. I know Russo brothers, but I was thinking, isn't Joss Whedon the one that did like Firefly and all that kind of stuff, and everyone liked
Yeah,
him
and he
in that?
did the Avengers.
And he did Avengers. Yeah.
Well, gee, I don't know. Do we want one of our most beloved characters to die in a pointless feud about robots? Because that's what Joss Whedon's going to bring.
That's what Ryan Johnson would bring.
It's true.
Let's not go there.
Sorry.
All right. Anything else we want to add? It was actually really creative. It's not going to happen, but it was really creative.
It's not, but I thought I wanted to have a Marvel movie that expands the universe, does not really muddy things up, and could kind of put the Transformers over in their own little world where they can have their own isolated stuff and still kind of be connected. Like maybe Captain Marvel pops up every once in a while.
Yeah. Is that it?
That's it.
All right. So, what did you think? Could Kyle be onto something, or is he just completely out of his mind? Let us know in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, and Autobots assemble.